doesn't matter low budget, high budget, or in between. I knew because I have this thing, I have this air about myself, and I don't want to call it pompous or anything, but I truly love everything beautiful. I really chase beauty.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Business of Luxury Weddings podcast. We're excited to be here with this beautiful lady, Sofia Crokos. I still remember one of my favorite memories of you. I've had the benefit or the pleasure of sitting in your restaurant a couple times now, but watching you operate as a Greek mama, because you sit in your restaurant and here you're like, no, eat, like bringing plates here, like this, try this food, try this one. Oh, this, like, and within 5 minutes, you're like surrounded by like 27 plates with different things, and you just being an amazing hostess. And that's like one of my favorite memories of you.
Wow.
France?
It's funny, Janet. One of my favorite memories of her is also eating, and this is in France, right? Sitting at a chateau with wine and everybody just bringing food, and just, it's beautiful. It's always been food, it seems.
It really, honestly, I think that's really where my soul kind of gets even more like, excited and whatnot, because food is such a nourishing thing, especially when it's good food, and especially when you're making it, when you're presenting it, when you've got the people that you want around the table that are just as delicious as the food on the table. And so with me, yeah, I mean, whether it's this Greek mama thing that, you experienced, James, at my restaurant, and obviously Otto, with all of us. And listen, there was 4 Greeks on this trip, right?
Yeah.
One Italian, one South African, and one, Idaho. Or I don't know, a little bit of something. I don't know. You got some English and a lot of things going on. Yeah, in Idaho in there. Anyway, and so to me, that's like my magnet. That's like what pulls. And I just love a beautifully dressed table, and I just love seeing vibrant food. And I love, like I said, love the company and the conversation and the wine flowing and all that. So we were so lucky to experience that together. Very randomly, we kind of just picked up and just went to this chateau and created something really beautiful, and with such a short period of time. And I think that's where I kind of really, shine and work really well under pressure.
I know you're building an empire, right? You've got a restaurant, you've done interior design, floral, you've done so many things. Tell us a little bit about Sofia Crokos and where you're at with your business. Catch everybody up a little bit. For those who don't know you, fill them in.
Yeah. So I've had passions like interior design. I have had passions like floral design. I don't want my people to be like, oh my God, she's opening up a floral design studio. We don't know that. That's why she, wants to always like temper in our flowers. I have a passion for flowers, right? I have a passion for everything. I know it's a good thing, I guess. And so yeah, I'm heading into my 26th year. September will be that. And who would have thunk it, when it was just like a little bit of this, seed that was sort of planted in my brain, because I came from fashion, and fashion was my first true love, as I've said this many of times, and still is, because I have such a high appreciation, but sadly not the fashion that's going on today. It's a little kind of weird, but anyway,
side conversation.
It's just another conversation. I'm talking about the fashion back in the days where I was like, where it was like my supermodel girlfriends, Naomi Campbell, Cindy, Chrissy Burlington. That was my era. And I was so grateful to have been growing up and looking at them as really beautiful icons of fashion and so forth. So anyway, and yeah, it was just sort of like, hey, I don't want to do fashion anymore. I appreciate it, but there's something else that's calling me. And so sometimes, when people are meant to be that one thing and others are meant to be a different couple of things. And that's kind of me. I like to temper a couple of things. I don't like that one avenue. I actually get bored really easily. So anyway, so it was an idea, a seed, and I thought I would do it later in life. And my younger sister was like, why are you waiting? Like, you're going to do this, you get at this age, like now. And I'm like, okay, now. And so I quit my fashion job and and started this maddening, crazy road of weddings. Because at first my heart was sort of dragging me down that road. And I didn't say dragging in a negative way, but in a positive way. And I knew that I wanted to hit or be in that luxury market and know that I could have free reign with my clients to do a lot. And of course, appreciate their budgets as well, because just because they are giving you a dollar amount doesn't mean you want to spend it all, So anyhow, and so it started very naturally, organically. And now 26 years in, I'm saying, okay, what's next? What's next? And so that obviously that what next part kind of organically happened on its own again, when this restaurant of ours now kind of came to fruition, which I never would I ever be in the restaurant business. And so I then was designing mood boards, and I guess I was joining the restaurant business. And so that was a new concept, but yet very familiar in a sense, because I feel like every day at the restaurant is an event, and whether I'm there 5-6 days straight because I can be, or I'm juggling between weddings, other events, and clients, and going back and forth wherever, and then tapping into the restaurant and then tapping into wedding business. And it's like my brain is like, okay, restaurant, weddings, parties. Okay, restaurant. And it's like, oh, got to talk to the chef. Got to recreate the menu. I'm like, so it's almost. I think yesterday I told my manager, I said, I think I have ADD. I'm like, so
all of us do now.
I really think I have, a little bit of that, but I don't want to believe I do. But anyway, so it's, it kind of keeps me really on my feet, and it keeps me going. And so for the what's next and where I'm at, I kind of wait and see. I have some ideas that I know I want to sort of, grow into. One of them is going to be producing our own olive oil, which, I'm very.
Wow. Well, you have a buyer from me. My wife, we ordered from Greece direct because she's obsessed with good olive oil. So please tell me more.
No better than Greece. I'm sorry. Like I was just recently there in March, and, we were part of, we were visiting the Food and Wine Expo. And so Chris was on one side of the expo with, tasting wines and spirits and all that jazz. And I'm like tasting honeys and olive oils and, and Greece is just, I don't think people understand what a country full of, natural, like I don't know, between the honeys and the olive oils and the plethora of like stuff that really, boils in Greece is beyond. And, their marketing is off the chains. It's like everything is just so beautiful. Every like sort of station that I was kind of going to and tasting olive oils, I was just like in awe of like their, either hearing about their productions or even seeing like their whole marketing campaign and how they were sort of like trying to sell it, if you will. And so that has been sort of a dream of mine ever since the restaurant really came into my lap, and I feel like it's coming to life now.
Oh, that's amazing. We'd definitely buy it for sure.
You better.
Oh yeah,
you better.
Yeah. If we can afford it, of course, we will buy it. I mean, this is Sofia Crokos olive oil, so maybe not in our zone.
No, it's not going to be $1 million. No, don't worry.
But Sophia, like I listen to all of that, and all I hear is like a creative brain that I think will never really settle. You're always going to be like building into the next thing. It's like, and then your brain goes, and what about this? Like fashion, events, restaurant. It's like you're in the same room. I noticed this. I'm going to play with that now. And then you kind of, I think it's cool.
Yeah. I'm always noticing.
Yeah.
I'm always.
But to that point, Otto, some people do this, right? And then they go, I'm going to do that. And they become so spread thin, everything falls flat. And nothing is successful. That's not the case here. I'm curious then, like how have you made this work? Like you get excited about something and you chase it, but it's not like you just chase it and then it just, there might be some of that where it's just like, that goes into a dead end.
It's intention.
But you've been very successful certainly at weddings and at this restaurant. how have you managed with all this creativity, with all of these things you being pulled in different directions? Like, how have you managed to be so successful in these areas?
So I manage by tapping into certain other creatives or other sort of analytical human beings that can kind of like rein me down, because I could be racing and thinking about, what do you think about this? And look at this. And then they're like, okay, does this make sense? Like I need, I don't believe in life that we can't really operate without some type of, I like saying it in Greek, omada, which means team, like we need a team, because, you can't do what you want to do and be that one man person doing it all. It's just impossible. So throughout the years, the last probably, I could say less than handful of years on my right hand, I have been talking to certain people who have been guiding me, like, business strategists, marketing, branding people, some, friends in the industry that I've tapped into and asked, some questions. Even one of my, generous, clients, who I won't obviously name his name, but some people drink his coffee every day. So maybe you could figure who that was. But anyway, I even sat with him and I picked his brain, and he, gave me direction, and he helped me to kind of like say, I need to see more of you in doing this or whatever. So again, I'm not going to sit here and talk about every single person, but I really do think that I think we have to be able to speak up and ask for help and ask for an opinion or two. It doesn't have to be 20, because it could be overwhelming, and then that's where it gets confusing. And then I think the most important part here is go with your gut.
Well, I want to just dig into that, what you were just saying. Like, are you really intentional and strategic about like trying to understand your weaknesses and then go get help where you're weak? Or are you just saying like, I just need help in business, or I need help with my taxes or accounting, or is it more, tell me about that.
Guys, I have no issue. And I think anyone who's going to be listening to this should really hear me out. We should not be afraid to ask for help. We should not be afraid to ask for an opinion on something because we're confused or conflicted or what have you. There is nothing wrong with that. And I think as we have gotten older and we're more comfortable in our skin, like myself, like I could give a flying fill in the blank, like if you're going to now, if I'm going to come to you,
flying fuck,
a fuck, a shit or whatever, like I don't care, because I need to share this and I want to know if maybe you're the person for it. And if you're not, thank you very much. I'm done. So, and I do believe that all of us have the answers. Like we have them inside of us. Like I know my divine intervention intervenes a lot of the times. And I just sometimes want to be like, okay, yeah, I heard you, but let me just double check, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, I'm listening to myself, because it's what it should be. At the end of the day, do you hear that? At the end of the day, I listen to me, because that's what it should be. Yeah.
Especially when you add that to all of your experience and expertise that you already have and that you've been building on for the last 26 years, trusting your gut. I mean, maybe year one, you don't trust your gut quite as much as you do at year 26.
Yeah, and also you are the space in which everything is happening to you. Everything that's happening to you is happening in you. So might as well just shift all the energy there as much as we can, right? Happiness, frustration, creativity,
whatever.
It's all happening right there.
It's all happening. And I own 100% of it. I'm not going to point the finger at someone. It's me when it's me. When it's you, it's a different story. But
it was me. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, we froze again.
No, Sophia, like collaboration is the biggest thing, right? It's where we have the potential to be at our best. Without others, we're simply so far short of our best, right? Doesn't matter what it is, relationally, life, business.
Yeah.
Collaboration.
Collaboration is key. I love it. I love bouncing off things with people and sharing and whatever and having fun and dancing, because I love to dance.
But this is the thing. When I think of that meal in France, I think of collaboration. I see in my mind, I see the shot of the table, all these hands kind of coming in. Here comes a bottle of wine. Here comes some designs. Sophia's tweaking something. Here comes Vasya with like a something. It's all these hands coming in and sharing it. And now we work together, and it's the same thing. We're collaborating. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Collaboration is key. I'm doing it now currently with my restaurant as well. I met an artist who's based in Greece, and I met her through a mutual friend that we have over a dinner last summer. But prior to that, I had seen her book because our mutual friend posted it. And I said, oh my God, someone just told me about this book, and it's called All You Need Is Greece. And so I Googled it to see can I buy it here? Like, what's going on? It wasn't sold here in the States yet. And so my friend my American friend or Greek American friend who was in Greece at the time, she happened to be having lunch with her because she posted that having lunch with Caroline Rovithi. And I'm like, stop it right now. I'm like, tell her to ship me a book right now. And the book is like, she's a very kind of contemporary, artist that takes sort of, something very classic and makes it very, pop modern, and gives it the Greek sort of term and whatnot. And it's a beautifully colorful book. And I got very inspired by it. I don't know why, but it just drew me. And she said, oh my gosh, she's so honored. She's like, she's sending you one for free. And I go, no, I'll pay for it, really, because I get it.
When I pay for it.
She signs it, she sends it off to me. And then cut to, we're at a dinner last July in the city. And she's at the dinner. We totally it's like two forces that came together, didn't shut up the whole night. And then, somehow I'm like, we're going to do something. We're going to do something. And now she recreated, oh my God, I have it here, but it's not in this big form though. Alea, so she put all her artwork, around very basic, we had a very simple,
incredible
menu. And because she does all this, again, very sort of freestyle kind of, drawing and paintings and what I said, listen, I don't want you to
watercolor. Is that what it looks like?
Like a watercolor, but it's a little funky and yeah, it's a little funky. And so anyway, so that, we launch our new menu May 1st. And, most of our staple items are still on there, of course, but I always change 3 or 4 just for the season. But then we're doing these fun coasters. And so we're bringing her in, we're collaborating, we're PRing the shit out of it and stuff. And then she's going to also do some artworks for us to kind of do some pop of color at my place. So, but she's a cool chick. And so I love her. And so I'm like, let's do it. So so collaborations are key.
Sophia, I'm so intrigued by, because I feel like the times that I've spent any time with you, I've watched you and I heard you just tell this story where you get inspired by something and you don't think about it. Like you're talking about this girl who's an artist, immediately you're texting, asking I want one of those books. You had this moment of inspiration, give me one, which led to getting a book, which led to a dinner, which now led to her doing art for your restaurant. How important is that? Those moments of inspiration and then chasing them, how important has that been to your success, do you think?
I think it's been really important because I do feel that when you act on something, you're either going to get the door open or you're going to get it closed because it wasn't for you, but you tried, right? So for me, it's important. And when it talks to me, and if it's not even responding sometimes 100%, I kind of go for a little more because I'm like, all right, maybe it's just the timing. She can't respond now or he can't respond now. And you just kind of wait. I wait out. But then if I see okay, 3 or 4 times, all right, buddy, then I guess maybe you're so not the person for me or the collaboration for me. And then I just kind of I go with the flow. And so, but I seek it because I'm a seeker. Okay. Somehow. Yeah, I'm a seeker. I think subconsciously I'm a deep seeker. Consciously, I will voice it if I want, looking for something. But yeah, why not? Life's too short. Why are we going to wait? Well, if we only just keep thinking about it and we don't act on it, then it's really not a dream or
nothing has happened. Until you don't do it, nothing has happened. That's the bottom line, right? Doesn't matter what it is. If you haven't done it, it's not happened. It's like,
but is that something you had to teach yourself to do, or you've kind of always been that way? Because I know there's so many that go like, I think the idea, and then I'm so scared to try it or put it out there. Is that just part of who you are, or did you learn how to do this?
I think it's been a combination. I think growing up Greek and, having an entrepreneur dad, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, of course, times different era, for her, of course, she always admired, we were extremely close. I'm one of four and I'm the oldest. So she always admired, whether it was my dressing or whether it was, okay, she's off to fashion school now, she's off doing like now events. And I would always like show her photos, or I would bring her tons of flowers, from the event, because I just hate seeing things. If we're not donating, I just would hate to see them like go to waste. So I would like bring her tons of flowers, and she would go nuts, and she'd be like, oh my God, Sophia, your work, you're this, you're whatnot. So I think, she showed me her way of not giving up and trying to be as strong. My dad showed me his way of how to get things and how to do things. And, as a child, as a young adult, we absorb what we can, because we're all a product of our environment, right? So we absorb, and then we either use it or we lose it. So, and then I've also learned, because I've done mistakes in my life. I've had shares of them. I've had clients that I should have not taken on. I had a husband I should have not married the first one. Whatever. So, but it's okay. But I don't have regrets.
No,
so
you don't.
The difference, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I learn. I
Fail
love to
fast and often, James. That pattern you see with successful people: fail fast and often. Like just go.
Yeah, and I've hit my face on the ground many of times.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
Metaphorically, of course.
It's on mine physically as well, several times. So I'm one-upping you there.
Yeah. I'm not embarrassed to say it, so it's all good.
Yeah.
I'd love to explore. Earlier, you said kind of early on in your event career, you kind of realized luxury. I want to go after luxury. How did you do that? How did you decide, hey, I don't even know what the story is. Like, did you spend 5 years doing quote unquote regular weddings? Was that 10 years? What did that look like? And how did you make that jump?
Okay. I think it's really all about manifestation, guys. And I know this might sound kooky for a lot of people. They're like, oh, what is that? That's so kooky, quackery. It's all like whatever. But it's either you're a new soul or you're an old soul. And for me, I'm an old soul. So I get that whole thing. And so I knew in my gut, I truly knew that I would be doing some really spectacular events. And I was not going to be, sort of like, let's do 45 weddings a year. Let's be like run of the mill and, and that kind of thing. Right. Which, I think anyone doing 45 weddings is on crack, but anyway, it doesn't matter low budget, high budget, or in between. Anyway, I knew, because I have this air about myself, and I don't want to be pompous or anything, but it's like what I said earlier. I truly love everything beautiful. I really chase beauty. Like, I really appreciate the fine things in life. And also, I can also appreciate the other things too. I'm not, it's not me being snooty or like, oh, I won't, eat at that restaurant unless it's a 2-star Michelin or something. That's not me. But I really, the creative side, the person that could not, or the girl that could not sketch a damn thing at FIT when I was going at for fashion, I could not sketch for the life of me. But it was all here and here, and all I kept saying was, someone can just do it for me. And now, then when I was starting to form this business of mine, I was like, wow, I'm actually doing. I don't have to sketch. I can actually hire a CAD guy, or I can hire someone else, and they can kind of do it. And I can just be like the creator, like envisioning it, and then, pulling images. Because at the time we didn't have Pinterest. We didn't have our fancy iPhones. I was actually doing physical mood boards, which I still have up in my office today. And they're gorgeous. Like, I have them as artwork. Like, it's so pretty. Anyway, but so the luxury part, because I was lucky to have found someone at the time who was somewhat of my like mentor, a much older woman, and who only did Upper East Side weddings, and socialite weddings. And I was like, okay, she's like in her late 50s. I'm in my early 30s, late 20s, maybe at the time or whatever it was. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this woman. This is my speed. Like I found my speed. And so it's like, boom, one came, then the next. And then I'm like, then it's like 2 years later, we're going to the south of France. I'm like, oh, hello. Like this is my jam, period.
And because you never say no to yourself, when you feel it, like you said, you push into it, you engage it. Like James said, you take the lollipop, you smell the roses, you sit on the bench. I think all of that opportunity generating for you just compounds. Because the moment you hit Italy, you don't go, oh, Italy, you go, ooh, your brain goes, what more can we do with this? And you're off. That's incredible.
So, and that's kind of how it's been rolling for me and stuff. So,
are you a big goal setter? Or do you literally like, I'm chasing beauty and believing in myself, and whatever is sparkling right now, I'm going to chase that. And if I'm passionate about it, I know I can be successful there.
Okay. I was a huge goal setter, like where I would, put the punch list of things. Oh, December 30th, December 31st, I got to do it for the new year. And I saw that out of the 5, out of the 10, out of whatever, maybe I was hitting 1 by mid-year, right? Because then I would just push it aside because things would be in my way. And then it would get me really frustrated, guys. Okay, it would frustrate me. And then I was really hard on myself until an ex-boyfriend of mine said to me one day, you are one of those, he goes, your integrity, your mindset, your whatever, but damn, he's like, you're so hard on yourself when you're not able to get that one thing done. And I go, what are you talking about? That? No, I'm not. He goes, yes, you are. And so he kind of brought that out in me, and he was right, because the disappointments were real. And I was, it was like something I couldn't get off my chest. And then I don't know what it was. I think it was right. It was right after coming out of my crazy Lyme episode, where I was sick for 3 years with Lyme disease and stuff. And when I really had that rebirth in my life, and I realized that I felt like I can breathe. 2, I felt like I saw the light again. And 3, I said, I am not going to have any attachments like the way I kind of had them in my life, where it was too much of like, oh, if I don't do by this, because I always was putting like, well, by March, this, or by September, that. If I don't finish that, then it's over.
Yeah,
it's
disappointment. Over. Try again. Yeah. Try again. Yeah.
No. You know what I do? I thank God every day. And I say, if whatever my crapshoot is, whatever I say, you know what? If this is meant for me today to do, then I'm going to do it. And of course, I do have, I'm very orderly when it comes to the clients stuff, obviously. I do have an order, when it comes to clients, obviously, events and the jobs that we sign on with, because you can't be like, well,
you have to.
We'll see which photographer we'll go with, maybe in 2 months, whatever. That's different. But for myself, I kind of have let myself just be.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I can feel that in you. It's intoxicating. It is very like, you feel free. You feel unencumbered. You feel like you can do anything, is what it feels like. James has a very similar characteristic. This like, we could just do it. Like, it's fine. We'll just do it, So I love that. It's beautiful. That whole breakdown, if you will, of like, nah, I'm going to let that go.
Can we just get more practical? Because like you said, I manifest. But for many, like, I go, if I'm listening to Sophia and she says, I'm manifesting, what does that look like? What do you mean? Like I understand what you mean, but what in a practical way, what does that mean? Are you writing it down? Are you literally thinking about it? You're praying about it every day what does that look like on a more practical level?
So it can mean a couple of things with me. It can mean the writing because, and I'll reference something in a second. It can mean the writing. It can mean a visual thing where I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly the place I have to be at some point. So I will either screenshot that, print it, because sometimes, we all screenshot and then it gets lost in 800 other photos that we have in our library, and either put it in front of me or I'll even post things. Sometimes Chris is like, what are all these posts around the house? I'm like, do not touch what's going on. So he does look at me sometimes saying, this one is special. And I'm like, yeah. Anyway, and I do sometimes repeat, right? There's certain things, little mantras, if you will, that I will say. I will go because of what it meant, and I am and I can. And we'll preface with that, and as well. And so it's a combination, and it's crazy, guys, how some things then will just appear.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when we have that, we all have that power inside of us. Some of us just don't know how to use it. And it's okay. You can teach that person, whether they kind of get it or not. It's another story. Other of us already say it. And we actually, I don't know, take notice next time when you're in a group of people, whether it's our industry people or friends. Do you know that 90% of the conversation is negative? 90% of the conversation that we talk with people is negative. And the moment we start talking about something amazing that's happening in our lives, that we want to share, not because we want to like show off and make the other person feel shitty, but we actually want to inspire and whatever. And a few of those people are going to say, oh God, she's so like, why is she so happy about? Like, what else? Like, she's always like trying to like put on that happy face. Is she really happy? Like, why do we want to like commiserate only when it's like the bad stuff and not enjoying when we're like, wow, there's someone right in front of me that's saying something so glorious. Like, why are we not like embracing and immersing ourselves in that? Instead, because we're so wired, I think, to always, even though our parents might have been like, we want you to be happy, or our teachers, you have to be happy, or our wives, husbands, partners, happy. A lot of it is noise that we've been so surrounded by that I feel that noise, social media, our TV, things that we read, fake news, culture, that just gets us so like confused. And then the moment you try to be that or are that really ray of light, someone's like, what's up with her?
Totally.
It's not by the way, it's not my person. I don't want them around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't want them around. I can learn from them and be like, okay, that's nice. Great. I'll just segue and just kind of mosey away. But so yeah, manifesting can come in so many different ways, James. And, I really do think that if you really want it, it will come. I don't care what anyone tells me.
I think there's something to that. And years ago, I would have said bullshit, and I still don't have evidence. I can just like, no, there's something to that. There's a lot to it.
There is. We just feel like, oh, that's bullshit. That can't happen. So then there you go. There's your negative reply and your energy. So therefore, you shut it down, and now you wonder why you're still in place.
Yeah, you're missing out. So you quickly go, you put it in the woo-woo box, and you go, it's that?
Yeah.
I'm smarter than that. And I'm like, yeah, but if you just looked at it, maybe like 70% of it's bullshit and like 10% is gold. And if you keep doing that, if you open like you are, end of the year, you've accumulated so much wealth because you're like, no, I'm open to all of it. It's fine.
I was thinking about when you were talking about the negativity, I was thinking about one of my best friends. I lived with him for three years in graduate school. And I learned this such a valuable lesson, maybe the most invaluable lesson I had. And just reminded when you were talking about this negativity, I would be talking about a teacher or like, I don't know, being negative about something. And I remember one time he turned to me and he said, so James, what are you willing to do about it? And at the time, whatever I was bitching about, I was like, well, nothing. And he said, then shut the fuck up. This is like a best friend, like dude's talking. He's able to say that to me. And it just hit me like, why waste your time?
Yeah.
It's exactly what you're saying. It's like when we get in a group, like, can we all be more positive? Because think about how much more we could manifest. Think about how much more we could get done if we're all being positive.
We'll be laughing because that's like pure medicine right there. You know, think about that, because it's like, and I know, listen, we want to be realists. We know shit, you know, happens in life. We know we all get down in the dumps. We're angry, we're grieving, we're whatever. But seriously, have a notice, because I catch people all the time and I'm like, oh my God, 25 minutes in and I haven't heard one nice thing about what's happening with them, whoever that they are, you know? So yeah. So I know we didn't talk a lot of wedding stuff, but I think we got enough. Right? Who cares about wedding?
No, because the reality is what you're saying is it doesn't matter if it's weddings, if it's restaurant, if it's food, if it's friendships, whatever it is that you want, go after it. Be inspired, chase beauty.
Yeah.
Be positive.
Yeah.
You'll succeed. Like that's
and just really love what you do, because I feel then the money follows too. You know, people just go after the money first and they forget to really tune into really what is it that they want. They're only looking at the big ticket price and or the big salary or whatever it is. And if you're not really loving, because I almost quit like last year. Like I know we've been talking about kind of pulling out now for the last couple of years, but long story short, it was at my December wedding that even though I knew I had things already lined up for this year, and I was like, okay, no matter what, Sophia, you can't really quit just yet, you know. But it was that wedding that brought so many emotions to me. And I realized what a privilege and an honor it is to really take care of other people and bring them what they wish for or dream of and so forth, and have it come to life. And I was like, literally, I'm having a conversation with myself. I'm like, yeah, you're not going anywhere right now. It's all good. So anyway.
That's your mic drop moment, right? Like for this podcast, like
mic drop. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for being willing to share.